Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I am Ijama, your host, and this week I have my guest is Tatyana, and she owns the Etsy shop Love Teacup Kisses. She opened the shop on February 28th, 2014, so just about 2.5 months ago. And in that short time, she has made 54 sales and has 21 5-star reviews. Hi, Tatyana.
Hi, Joma.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Oh, good. I was telling Tatyana before we started recording, I sometimes don't know where people are when they listen, and sometimes I wonder, is anyone listening? And she lives here in the Bay Area with me, so I'm kind of excited to know one of my neighbors is listening. So, okay. Tell us when you first discovered Etsy. Well, actually, you know what? No, let me back up. Can you give us a brief intro of yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm an illustrator. I just graduated from the Academy of Art University.
Nice.
And I have always loved doing art. So I knew I wanted to be an artist. And because I spend all my time drawing, I thought, hey, it would be a good idea to open a shop and sell some of my stuff. This is actually my second shop. I started doing my first one, which was a trial one, I guess, when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from doing that. And I actually didn't start selling my art. I started selling like knitted stuff, scarves and stuff, and I realized that I should focus on doing what I love.
Right.
And I brought that over.
Nice. So your knitting was your gateway introduction to Etsy?
Yeah, because I do enjoy knitting, but it's not, I only do it every once in a while.
Yeah.
So it wasn't kind of a passion for me.
Okay. Is it your plan to keep both shops open?
Yes, I do have both shops. The other one doesn't have knitting anymore. Sometime last year, I decided that I was going to focus on art, and I have two different styles. So that's my original style. And then Love Teacup Kisses is my more fun, sassy, cute style. So
Nice.
I really, really enjoy this, the cute stuff. And I kind of didn't want to do it because it's more simple than my other style. But I realized I love it so much more, which is kind of why I branched out and opened it up.
Oh, very nice. So just in case people are curious, we're going to talk about Love Teacup Kisses on this show. But in case people are curious to see what your other style is, would you mind sharing the name of that shop?
I believe the shop is called Avo Art on Etsy. But if you go to my website, avoart.com, it links to both of my styles. So it's got Midnight Whimsy and Love Teacup Kisses.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put links to Tatyana's website and her Etsy shops in the show notes. So you started selling your knitting products on Etsy when you were in school. Was that when you first discovered Etsy?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really long time ago, so I'm not exactly sure what brought me to Etsy. I just remember, I had seen it a little bit. I thought it was cool. I realized it was for craft stuff, and, I totally jumped on board. I thought it was great. But that was 4 years ago, I think.
Okay.
So it was a while ago.
Okay. So specifically, can you describe the type of art you sell in Love Teacup Kisses?
So I sell, I like to call it like my fun, sassy, cute styled stuff. Some of it's pretty like girl power. A lot of it's pin-up-y. And it's very like simple and stylized in like a overly cute way. I just It's just cute stuff. Like some of it's ridiculous. Like the first thing I started with was a mermaid dreaming of donuts. So it's, mermaid, a bunch of donuts around her. And then I kind of branched off from there.
That is so cool. I'm looking at it now, and it's your the way you describe it is exactly what it is. It's fun, it's whimsical. Yeah. So you opened this shop in February, actually the end of February. So let's call it about 2.5 months that it's been open. And in that time, you've had a lot of sales.
Yeah.
Can you share how you did that? Because most people, when they open their shops, it takes a while to gain momentum, and you have it already.
Yeah, well, I was really, really active. When I graduated, right before I graduated, I moved in with my parents to finish college. And we made a deal that when I graduated, I had a couple of months to kind of work on whatever I wanted. So I was able to just focus on my Etsy shops. I first started with the one I had before Love Teacup Kisses. And then I realized, hey, why don't I do something that I really enjoy doing? And I opened Love Teacup Kisses, and I took all of the knowledge that I had from my previous one and just went with it. I was constantly posting stuff, constantly using social media, and I'm always working on my product photography, trying to get it better and better. And I also started, which is new, I started actually going into the Etsy forums and, asking questions and talking to people and actually trying to take advantage of the teams for like feedback and, creating, like connections and things like that. So fortunately, since I had a trial shop, I kind of had a good idea of where to start. And I've always looked at the Etsy seller handbook. So I try and take in as much information as I can and then put it into my shop when I have a chance. But the big thing I gotta say is really, I just spent a lot of time constantly doing stuff for my shop, like posting new things all the time, creating new products and things like that. And the reason why I think that was such a good thing is I currently got a big freelance job, and I haven't been working on my shop pretty much at all this month. And I've had the least amount of sales this month than I have before.
Wow, that's very telling, huh?
Yeah, it is. And I really appreciate like having an actual such a strong thing to show that like, oh, I did so well even though I just opened my shop, because I was constantly promoting it. And now that I don't have the time to add that much stuff and promote it as much, I haven't, my sales dropped a lot. So,
okay. But you'll be going back to it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I haven't stopped. I just haven't been doing it as much.
Okay.
So I'm currently working on adding some new things, and I have some big projects that I'm working on that I hope to have up there soon, but they're bigger than most of my other projects. Like they're completely different products. So
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you have a big you're working on some freelance you're doing some freelance work right now. Do you have a job outside of what you do on Etsy?
Yeah, the freelancing is pretty much my separate job. And it's in my other style that I don't really focus on quite as much. So it's almost completely separate, and it's for like a company and stuff like that. Although I have gotten some freelance jobs from Love Teacup Kisses as well.
Okay.
But the ones that support me are completely unrelated.
Okay. So for Love Teacup Kisses, do you do custom work?
Yes. So I do have some custom listings in the shop, and then I'm always open to customers who want custom things as well. But most of the time, my custom listings, do whatever they are asking for.
Okay. So say someone had and I'm just winging this now. So if someone had a particular, let's say they had a photograph that they wanted you to illustrate in this whimsical style, can you do that from a photo?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I actually encourage people giving me photos when they want me to do a custom. But I let them know that it will be in my style. It won't be photorealistic, and the colors will vary. A lot of the times, I will brighten colors up. So I ask them if there's specific colors that they do want, to please let me know. Otherwise, I'll take some artistic liberties to kind of make it more Love Teacup Kisses.
Okay. And do you only make physical products? Can you make like logos and things of that nature?
Actually, yeah, I do logos. A lot of the stuff that I do is physical. But for custom things, I'm currently working on like a website for somebody. I've done a logo for someone, headers, banners, things like that, in the Love Teacup Kisses style, but done digitally.
Yeah.
I do most of my line art traditionally. So usually they'd get a package where they'd get the original drawing and the digital as well, depending on what it is.
Oh, cool. That is good to know. All right. So, how do you manage your time between, because it seems like you're kind of running two different businesses, kind of, because the styles are so different. And
Yeah.
one is more fun for you and the other one is more not fun, but professional, I guess is maybe the word I would use. I don't know.
Yeah.
But how do you manage your time between the two?
Well, to be honest, right now, my old shop, although I have alerts set up on all of my devices. So anytime I make a sale, I know and I can, ship all that stuff out. But I haven't really been focusing on that quite as much because it's not as much of my passion as Love Teacup Kisses is. So I don't really bother with that as much as I do with Love Teacup Kisses. As for between freelance and Love Teacup Kisses, that's something that I'm currently working on since I just got, the biggest freelance job that I've had so far. So I try and, balance it out where I do a little bit of work for Love Teacup Kisses during the day, especially because most of the stuff that I have to do is during, when there's good lighting. So like if I take, pictures and stuff like that, there has to be good lighting. And, a lot of I also count all of my social media and stuff in with Love Teacup Kisses, because even if it's not always talking about Love Teacup Kisses, it's usually related to cute stuff and things that, go hand in hand with the style that I'm doing. And it ends up promoting Love Teacup Kisses as well. So working on balancing things, I'm working on it.
You're figuring it out.
Yeah. But I just try and do a little bit of everything as often as I can.
Okay. Now for the freelancing, do they find you through Etsy, or did they find you through Etsy? Is that typically how you get, well, I know this is your first one, so I guess, did they find you through Etsy would be the question.
Well, so I've had plenty of small freelancing jobs.
Oh, okay.
And most of my small ones do come from Etsy or from some online social platform like Tumblr or something like that.
Okay.
This big one, well, I've had two big ones, but the current big one that I'm having right now came from a friend. Okay. So I went to an art school. Most of my friends are artists. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got good networking connections. Yes. In that sense. So that was a friend job.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Yeah. Your network is what will get you money in the door.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not the most social person. And I just realized that the more you network, the, more like opportunities you get. And I'm seeing it more and more. And I'm like, oh God, I need to be more comfortable.
Yes. You know what's interesting is looking at your artwork. I wouldn't guess that you weren't social because the pictures are so much fun. They look like they just look like fun pictures, and you kind of create, at least I do in my head, create a personality of the person who made the art based on the art. And when you said, "Oh, you're not the most social person," I thought to myself, "Wow, I figured you might be based on the artwork, but it's how you're expressing yourself, not necessarily, who you are." So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I do. I'm social with my friends. I
Oh,
guess
yes.
more specifically, I'm shy. So
Yeah.
meeting new people is sometimes awkward, and when it's specifically in like networking situations, oh my goodness,
It's even worse. Yes,
you
I
get so
know.
nervous. But
Now,
yeah, no, I do understand. It's easy to put yourself in your artwork. Even a lot of times, you hear that even with like people who write. A lot of the times, even if they're talking about fictional stuff, you learn more about them than whatever they're talking about.
right. Yeah, that's true. So I have another question. In your, you described some of your art as kawaii art prints.
Yeah,
What's that?
that is Japanese for cute.
Oh.
And it's specifically, and a lot of times, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but I know that a lot of my target market is going to be looking for kawaii cute things. Like for instance, I get a lot of Japanese stationery, which is just ridiculously cute and like just it's silly and just adorable.
Yeah.
And since I realized, hey, that's a great market for cute stuff, I should point out that my stuff has a little bit of that in it. Although I also have it's like that Japanese cuteness and like a pin-up version, so it's a little bit more sexy cute as opposed to just animal cute, but it still has that feeling. So I try to look at things that may not be a perfect fit for my style, because it's hard to find that since my style is unique to myself.
Right.
But things that can kind of like, if someone's looking for something, like what would they say? And that's one of the things I constantly kept thinking of is, yeah, it's kawaii, it's Japanese cute.
Okay. Oh, good. I didn't know that. I thought for some reason you were referring to an island in Hawaii, and what?
I'm like, well, that does make sense.
Yes, exactly. Okay, good. I'm glad I asked. So it's only been just over 2 months now, but is your shop profitable yet? Are you breaking even, or are you still just ramping up?
Actually, I did start making a profit. And I mean, it's not a lot, and I'm always, I always end up spending more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it does have to do with the small freelancing jobs that I have gotten from Etsy.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Which, because, custom things cost more than what I have in my shop. Anytime I do a custom thing, I make a good deal off of, one illustration or whatever it is.
Right.
So that has been very beneficial to, kind of getting me to break,
Yeah.
break even. But yeah, I was looking. I keep track of everything in my planner, and I have it so that it's color coordinated. Every thing green. Anytime I make money, it's in green. Anytime I don't, it's in pink. And then, I had everything, the total, and it was just pink, 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 pink. And then eventually it got to green, and I did a happy dance. So I was like, yay!
Nice. Very nice. It's nice that you use pink, not red.
Yeah.
Pink is more forgiving than red.
Exactly. It's not quite so angry.
Yes, it's not so angry. So, what inspires you when you're creating a new piece of art?
Oh man. In general, everything. And I mean, you hear that a lot, but it's funny how true it is. Like, sometimes I could be listening to like a song. It could be something somebody said. I could like see something when I'm walking and just be like, oh man, like that would be great if I did this. Books, movies, other artists, friends, fashion. I tend with Love Teacup Kisses, one of the reasons why I like it is because it's very, um, I don't know, I kind of sit down and I just start drawing and whatever happens kind of happens. It's not so, like, oh, I have this idea, I have to try these things out, I have to work it and stick to this. It's kind of more flowy and relaxing and, whatever happens, happens. So it's hard to say what pinpoints everything
Yeah.
because like honestly I just I'll just sit there and go I'll draw something and then I'll say, hey, this would look really cool if, and then I'll add whatever I think it would look cool. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, I really want some ice cream, let me draw a girl with a giant ice cream cone. Or like, so sometimes I'll base it off of something like, oh, I want to draw a witch, and then I do that. I'm currently doing a Monster Girl challenge where there's a list of different monsters you're supposed to draw, and then you draw them, and that's like a good example of a lot of the things that I do is I'll say, oh, I want to draw a centaur or a mermaid, and then based off of that idea, I can just go crazy with it and do whatever it is that I want based off of that.
Yeah.
But seriously, most of the stuff I do is I'll draw something and I'll look at it and I'll say, hey, it would look really cool if she had a giant donut or something like that. And then I do that.
Do you find that you often live vicariously through your characters?
Yes.
Yes.
Especially the like fun, silly stuff. Like
Yeah.
one of my favorite ones I have is the girl running with a giant donut and she's smiling. She's got like a tooth missing and she's just so happy with this giant donut.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That one always makes me happy. But
So what motivates you to keep the shop going?
well, I have very fortunately gotten a lot of great feedback. More so than I've had on my previous style. And, I used to get really frustrated with my previous style because it was very painterly and, I spent a lot of time on everything that I did, but there wasn't quite as much love in the final piece. And I would get so mad because I, spent so much time on it and no one would love it as much as I did. And it hurt because, hours and hours and hours and hours, and, you get a little bit of feedback and you're, oh, this sucks. And I realized I know why it wasn't successful is because there's a lot of people that do stuff like that. It didn't show me. It was, me trying to be this something that I wasn't exactly. So when I get to Love Teacup Kisses, even if I hadn't gotten the feedback, I enjoy it so much that I just can't help but be like, hey, look at this thing I made. Hey, I want to do this. Oh, this would be cool as a sticker. Why don't I do this? Oh, I'd love to wear a pin. I'm so happy with it. And then I keep getting people saying, hey, I love, your characters. They're so cute. Like, so much positive feedback in addition to me personally love it makes me like want to work on it all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Did you say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I've been very fortunate for that.
Yeah, it helps. I know exactly what you mean. When you get positive feedback, it's just fuel for the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
You already have. Did you say the other type of art was very painterly?
Yeah, well, so it's digital painting. So it's more rendered instead of, flat, colorful. It's got, form to it. It's very stylized still, so it's not realistic.
Okay.
But it does have a more painterly effect to it. Some of it didn't, I had branched out a little bit, but most of it, like I would spend a lot of time, digitally painting something, and it would be pretty time consuming. So if, I don't know, it's kind of in the illustration crowd, it was something that a lot of artists did.
Okay.
So I understand why it wasn't quite as successful.
I see. So, do you know of any other Etsy shops that sell this type of art that you have in Love Teacup Kisses, and do you spend time looking at them?
You know, yes and no. So I can fortunately say that my style is fairly unique. But I have found, some shops that have, a similar idea, like, like girl power, pin-up-y, simplified.
Right.
So I have focused on, saying, what are they doing? Especially when I first opened Love Teacup Kisses, like I was constantly trying to find things, similar enough to what I was doing to see, what kind of prices are they doing, like who are they targeting, like who is their target audience or market,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So I did do a lot of research looking into, just what kind of prints we're selling, what kind of items we're selling, because as an illustrator, I do a lot of art, and, typically you would say prints, prints, that's what you do on your art, and, that's all. But prints, they sell, but they're not quite as useful. So they're not the best thing to focus on because, if you're tight on money, you're not going to spend it on decorations if you don't need it. You're more likely to spend it on, like a clothing item or, jewelry or, something that you can wear and would add, that has more use to it. So I looked at other artists and saw what kind of things like that do they sell and like how successful are they, so I can see, should I do something like that with my art.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That was like your market research, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I did, I also did it with shops that didn't have art similar to mine, because honestly, there weren't very many that I could find.
Right.
But just shops that had art to see what kind of other items do they sell.
Okay. So, since what you sell is fairly, is not, there aren't that many other shops on Etsy selling it, did you have a problem coming up with keywords for your descriptions so that people can find you, find your listings?
Yes, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know one of the shops that does have something similar to mine, and she's fairly successful, doesn't utilize keywords very often. So I really had to experiment, I suppose, and try and look things up, like try and find art like mine by looking things up and say, hey, I looked this up to try and find something like mine, I should use that in my tags.
Okay.
So it was a lot of experimenting.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm still working on it because it's hard. I know my style is pretty like specific, I guess, and I still don't know exactly what keywords to bring more people in.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're just 2 months in, so
Yeah.
yeah. It's, and as it is, people are finding you, but I guess it's a learning process too.
Yeah. I would say a lot of the, what I have gotten or how I've gotten people in is social media, like promoting myself constantly with, whatever small fan base that I already have, and, building a new fan base as well. Like on Instagram, I'll post pictures and I use tags all the time to, have people find me. And then, of course, I will then use that as a way to say, hey, I got new stuff in my shop.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest reasons why I've done so well in such a short amount of time is that constant promotion and trying to find my target market, like really focusing on who they are.
Yeah. So did you have your target market defined before you started, or are you constantly defining or still trying to define who that is so you know how to reach them?
I have a pretty good idea because right before I opened the Love Teacup Kisses shop, I had, started doing the drawings a lot. And, I just looked at them and I said, oh, like who would buy this? And I felt like it was pretty clear to me. Now it does, branch out a little bit here and there, and sometimes it comes back in. So it is being worked on a little bit, but I do feel like I have a pretty strong idea of who my target market is.
Okay.
Which is very, very useful.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's also one of the things that I struggled with my previous shop was I had no clue who I was trying to sell my stuff to.
Yeah.
And that that makes things so difficult.
Yes, yeah, that's a bad recipe. If you don't know who you're aiming for, it's hard.
Yeah.
So far, have you had any bad experiences with this new shop?
With both of my shops, I have not had any bad experiences.
Good.
I've been very, very fortunate in that. I did have one of my customers with my stickers. She was having a hard time peeling the sticker off. And, she contacted me saying that she didn't think I sent her an actual sticker. That was probably the worst experience I've had, and it was very easy to, handle it and just be like, oh, I'm really sorry. If it has a grid background, it is definitely a sticker. If you need any help or if you need any more information, please let me know. And, she was like, okay, I just wanted to make sure it's actually a sticker I got. Thank you so much. I guess she was just worried that, she didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
So she wanted to just double check.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was probably, the closest thing to a negative experience I had. It was very easy to handle.
To fix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we talked about you promoting your shop. Let's talk a bit more about that. So you use social media a lot.
Yes.
Okay. Which one or ones are your preference, and which ones do you find drive the most traffic to your shop?
Okay. So I'll say I have 3 preferences. Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Tumblr and Instagram are very visual, so they're very useful. Twitter, there's just so many people on Twitter that it's easy to get your stuff across. And since people check it, as kind of a now thing, it's also useful in that sense. Now I would say they've all brought people to me. I think Tumblr may be my personally be my most successful social media outlet or whatever to bring people in. But I've done things like I've hosted giveaways and stuff like that on my social media accounts too, especially right when I opened. It was like, oh, I'll draw you something free, just check out my shop and stuff.
Wow, that's very generous.
Yeah, huh?
I said that's very generous.
Oh yeah, well, I find it fun because one of the main things I wanted to do was share my art with people, especially in the beginning. It was a new style. And I knew that, you have to, well, you don't have to, but sometimes it's good to, do samples or giveaway or things like that.
Yes.
So people can actually see your product and just tell people about it. I noticed word of mouth is one of the most, successful forms of promotion. I've been at events where, I'm in person and I'm, selling my stuff. And, I've watched people look at my stuff, go and grab somebody else, and then say, hey, you need to see this. And then I've made sales because of that. So I wanted to utilize that in the digital form as well. So do giveaways and discounts and sales and stuff to kind of get the word out there and to get the products in people's hands so they can actually see that, hey, this is high quality stuff and it's affordable and stuff like that.
Oh, great. Do you do Facebook at all?
I do Facebook, but since they have that thing now where not very many of your followers actually see the stuff.
I know, so annoying. Yes. Sorry, I had to say that.
No, totally. It's horrible. So I
Yeah.
don't focus on it quite as much as I do on other things where actually everyone that follows me has a chance to see it.
Okay, good. Do you ever do craft fairs?
Well, I've done conventions, which are pretty much like that.
Oh.
And I'm looking into doing more craft fairs now that, I'm out of school. But I find them incredibly useful.
Oh, good. What's the main difference between a craft fair and a convention?
Um, Honestly, I don't know. Especially,
Okay.
I know. I guess conventions often have lots of like, they're based off of something. So, like, I guess there's like Comic-Con, which I've never been to, which
Oh, okay. Yeah.
based off of comics. People dress up, and then they'll have an artist alley where people sell their stuff. The only convention I've sold at was APE, which is the Alternative Press Expo, and it's pretty much a bunch of artists in a giant room selling stuff. So it's kind of like a craft fair specifically for illustrators and artists.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it really depends on which one you go to.
Okay. Oh, interesting. And so you mentioned earlier that you have a website.
Yes.
What do you do on the website?
So my main website, it's my portfolio website, and it kind of links off to all of my other stuff. So I have it set so if you go to the main page, it links to both of my styles so that if you're interested in one, you'll only get whatever it is. You can just go and look at that stuff. And then in those, it'll link to like my blog. It'll show you a lot of my drawings. It'll show you for Love Teacup Kisses. I recently started a YouTube channel, so I have it linked to that. And then, of course, my social media accounts and stuff like that. And then links to my shop.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But it's pretty much just a chance for people to kind of like, it's the hub of everything, I guess.
Wow. So you started a YouTube channel for Love Teacup Kisses?
Yes.
How is that doing?
It's I just started it. It's doing pretty good so far. I post a video every Wednesday, or at least that's the plan. And it's not just it's pretty much going to be focused on cute stuff, art related stuff, and things like that. So I'll be doing like process videos to show you how I do my drawings, some events that I go to, things like that. And it's, going to try and focus on, kind of cute Love Teacup Kisses, sassy type things.
Nice.
So I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Excellent. And so the website, so that's your website. Then you also have a blog, Avo's Life. What is that's a whole separate thing there,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it does it's gotten more influenced by Love Teacup Kisses as Love Teacup Kisses grows. But it's my lifestyle blog. So, I post it's pretty much just, I go to fun vintage events, let me post about it. And I did a cute outfit or a cute drawing, or I find these cute things on Etsy and stuff like that.
That is so cool. So people get to know you, the artist, just who you are and what you're doing, just regular everyday stuff.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, yeah.
I like that. And I'm going to have links to all of Tatyana's social media accounts, her website, and her blog in the show notes. If anyone wants to check them out, just go to the website, the blog, go to convome.com and look for Love Teacup Kisses. You'll see all the links there. So about how much time do you spend working on your shop per week?
Well, it's time would be a little bit off right now since I'm doing the freelancing. But,
Yes.
Right when I opened, I pretty much spent all the time that I had doing stuff for the shop. I was constantly doing something. If I wasn't looking up stuff, I was drawing stuff or taking photos and things like that. Now that my shop, is pretty filled out, I'm probably going to only spend like 8 to 16 hours a week or so on it.
Okay.
in addition to my other stuff that may vary depending on how busy I am or am not with, my other job. But I do want to dedicate a good amount of time to the shop, usually like weekends and stuff. And like I said, with Love Teacup Kisses, when I talk about the time, I am also including my social media accounts as well.
Yes.
Because I feel like they go hand in hand.
Right. That's business related stuff.
Yeah.
So, have you developed any new relationships, business connections, or friendships through Etsy?
Um, Not as much as I would like. I only recently got into like looking at the forums and really trying to take advantage of teams. So I haven't gotten any like big relationships, but I have met, lots of really cool people who are really helpful through Etsy.
Yeah. How do you decide which teams you want to join?
Oh goodness, right now I just pretty much have joined anything that I thought was useful, and then I'm planning on weeding them out based off of how much I actually like the team. I
Right.
do know specifically I don't like doing the some of the games where it's like the person above you or
Oh, yeah.
because I would prefer all of the people to only like me if they actually like my stuff.
Yes.
So but there's a lot of other useful things that happens in like the teams, which I have to, I'm testing it out to find because, some teams are more active than others and some others just do stuff like that. So, I join them to see what I like and to try them out. And then if they have stuff that's just not for me or for my shop, I slowly, I guess,
Fizzle out.
exit the team.
Yes, exit the team. I like that. Do you know, and now I'm going to be talking locally, so for everyone who isn't in the San Francisco Bay Area, forgive me, please, but there is an SF Etsy team. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's very active. They do lots of stuff. They even do craft fairs. So check them out.
Thank you.
You
I'm
welcome.
definitely going to check them out.
Okay. So, has Etsy so far had the impact on your business that you expected when you opened this second shop?
Oh God. So Etsy has exceeded my expectations for this second shop. I have in the first 2 months of having it, so 17 days ago, I did stats check and I exceeded the, amount of sales and the profit and the shop admirers from my, previous shop, which I had that shop for more than 4 years.
Wow.
So I'm just ecstatic at how well things have been going for this shop, and I'm just very happy with it. Like everything that has come from it. So
Wow. I think that even speaks to, you know how you always hear people say, do what you love, and then, everything else will fall into place. Sometimes I believe it, sometimes I don't, because it doesn't always work. But in this case, it just seems that that's the case, because you branched out into this art that you have so much more fun with, and it's doing better than the other one that you were doing
yeah.
before.
Yeah, it's true. I have to admit though, with my last shop, there were long periods of time where I kind of just stopped, where I guess gave up on it. I would just let everything expire, and then I would focus on school. A lot of it had to do with school, but I mean, if it was being successful, I probably never would have, thought, oh, I'm gonna not upload things. So it's a little bit like, I don't know, I guess it is just very true that as soon as I started doing something that I loved, I put in all the effort that was necessary to make it successful.
Yeah. So when you get an idea for a new product, how long does it take you from the moment you get the idea to creating it to listing it on Etsy?
It really depends on what it is. So like if it's just a print, I usually, as soon as I finish the drawing, I upload it to my computer, I edit it to make sure that, it's nice and clean, and then I, print it out, because I do everything myself, for most of the stuff that I have right now. And because of that, it makes life a lot easier because I don't have to worry about if it's not successful. Have I just wasted a lot of money?
Right.
So, I got myself a really nice printer, really nice paper, and really nice inks so that I can just do it all myself. And then I test things out. Now, if it's something that I don't do myself, then it takes more time because I have to figure out like, hey, how many of these do I want to start out with and stuff like that. Or if it's something that's just more time consuming, like I currently printed one of my patterns, got it printed on fabric, and I'm going to be making like makeup bags, pencil cases, and totes for my shop, but I'm going to be doing all the sewing myself. So that's going to be more time consuming. So I have the fabric, but I just haven't had the time to actually do it. So that's going to take, like probably a couple of months for me to get all of that stuff up, even though I thought about it and, purchased some of the stuff and things like that a while ago. As, when I do like a print or a sticker, it usually takes me like a day. From, hey, I should turn this into something to, it's a product in my shop.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. So what advice do you have for new Etsy sellers?
Okay. So I have a couple of things. So definitely take advantage of social media. I am not a social media queen. I pretty much schedule everything, because for like Twitter mainly, I am not somebody who thinks to tweet throughout the day. I just don't do it. So I prefer, to when I'm thinking of stuff, oh, that would be a great thing to tweet. If it's not a time specific tweet, I schedule it. If it's time specific, I'll tweet it right then. But you can also schedule things for like Tumblr and Facebook and things like that. So you can, and your blog as well, which is very useful, so that you can do things on a schedule. Also with my shop, a lot of the times I'll put things in drafts so that I can post things fairly regularly, because the more, if you post a little bit every day, people are more likely to see, because, if you post them all on one day that nobody's there,
Right.
It's not going to be quite as useful. But you don't want to do that too much. Like, you want to post things when you have them. But, sometimes it's nice to spread it out a little bit. The other thing would be definitely take advantage of the Etsy Seller Handbook, SEO, or the search engine optimization.
Yes.
Like, keywords and tags are very, very useful. And product photography, like, I am still constantly trying to make mine better, because if you want to, like, people prefer pretty pictures of whatever it is. Like, I've seen things, like, personally, I'll be looking through stuff and I'm less likely to click on something that is nice if the picture doesn't look as good as something that is equally as nice with the picture looking really nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously you might anyway if you really like the product, but still it's better for you if your pictures are good.
Yes.
And don't give up.
Oh, yes.
If you love it, don't give up.
Yes. That's all good advice. So, Tatyana, thank you so much for being my guest this week on the podcast.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I've been useful and helpful.
Definitely. And if you have feedback or questions for Tatyana, definitely visit the website. Go to convome.com, and her shop is Love Teacup Kisses. You can leave feedback in the comment section, and all the links, like I said, to her website, her blog, her social media accounts will all be there. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review too. Visit convome.com to leave a comment or feedback on this episode.